My beloved child, pause and let the noise around you become quieter. You did not arrive at these words by accident. You may think you simply clicked or followed a familiar habit, but I have been watching the path that brought you here. I have seen every question you carried into this day. I have heard the prayers you could not finish. I have noticed the restlessness that followed you from room to room, even when nothing seemed unusual. This moment did not find you by chance. I have been drawing your attention gently for longer than you know. There have been mornings when you woke with a weight you could not explain. There have been evenings when the day appeared successful, yet your spirit still felt unsettled. You tried to name it stress. You called it tiredness. You told yourself it was only another difficult week and that eventually the feeling would disappear. But somewhere beneath those explanations you knew there was more. My beloved child, that quiet ache is not proof that something is wrong with you. It may be the place where truth has been asking for your attention. You have felt the distance between the life you are living and the life your heart knows is possible. You have continued fulfilling responsibilities, answering messages, caring for people, and doing what others expected. Outside you may have looked steady, yet inside something kept asking whether you were becoming who you were created to be. I am not asking this question to shame you. I am not standing over you with disappointment. I am coming close because love does not ignore the places where a soul is slowly disappearing. Sometimes I comfort you by making the road easier. There are other seasons when I comfort you by helping you see clearly. Clarity can feel uncomfortable at first because it reveals what distraction allowed you to avoid. Still, discomfort is not always danger. Sometimes it is the first movement of awakening. Think of Samuel resting in the temple before he understood the voice calling his name. He heard something unfamiliar and assumed it came from someone nearby. Yet I continued calling until he learned how to answer. You have been hearing a call. Not always through words. Sometimes it came through the growing dissatisfaction with what once kept you numb. Sometimes through a conversation that stayed in your mind. Sometimes through a door that would not open no matter how hard you pushed. Sometimes through a tiredness that forced you to admit that your current way of living could not continue forever. My beloved child, I have not been trying to confuse you. I have been preparing you to listen. You asked me for a sign, although you may not have used that word. Perhaps your prayer sounded like, "Show me what I am missing. Help me understand why I feel this way. Tell me whether there is still something ahead for me. Do not let me waste another season moving in circles." I heard you. This is not an answer to every question, but it is an invitation to stop running past the question that matters most. What have you known in your spirit, but continued postponing in your life? Do not rush. Let the question sit beside you. I know why you delay. You keep waiting for a calmer version of yourself. You imagine that one day you will wake with complete courage, perfect clarity, and no fear. Then you will finally face what you already know. But courage rarely arrives before the first honest step. Courage often meets you after you stop pretending. My beloved child, I am not asking for a polished response. I am not asking you to perform strength for me. I know where your hands tremble. I know which memory makes you pull back. I know the cost hidden inside the decision you have avoided. Bring me the real version of you. Bring me the questions. Bring me the reluctance. Bring me the part that wants to trust and the part that still expects disappointment. Honesty will not make me turn away. You have spent enough time believing that you must become cleaner, stronger, wiser, or more spiritual before coming close. But the people I met throughout Scripture were often called in the middle of uncertainty. Moses argued that he was not ready. Gideon hid behind his weakness. Jeremiah focused on his youth. Peter saw his failure more clearly than his future. I did not wait for them to become fearless before speaking. I spoke and then I walked with them as courage grew. I will do the same with you. My beloved child, guard this moment from becoming another passing feeling. You have experienced emotional moments before. You cried, promised yourself things would change, and then returned to the same rhythm because nothing concrete followed. I am not asking you to force a dramatic reaction. I am asking you to remain present. Listen without trying to escape into another task. Breathe without planning what you will do 5 minutes from now. Let the words reach the place that has been crowded by worry, entertainment, responsibility, and the constant need to appear fine. You do not need to understand the whole journey tonight. You only need enough honesty to admit that something has been calling you toward change. Perhaps it is a relationship that requires truth. Perhaps it is a habit that keeps stealing your peace. Perhaps it is a dream you buried because disappointment taught you to expect less. Perhaps it is forgiveness, a boundary, a confession, a season of rest, or the decision to stop carrying what was never yours. Whatever it is, do not be afraid that I brought you here only to expose you. I reveal what hurts because I intend to heal. I uncover what has been hidden because I want to lead you into freedom. I speak before another season passes because your life matters too much for me to remain silent. My beloved child, this moment did not find you by accident. I have been near in the confusion, near in the delay, near in the nights when you wondered whether anything was changing. I have been patient, but my patience has never been indifference. Now I am asking you to come closer, not because danger is chasing you, but because love is reaching for you. And the urgency you feel in these words is not fear. It is love refusing to let you keep drifting past the life I am calling you to live. My beloved child, the urgency you feel in these words is not fear. It is love refusing to watch you drift past the life I am calling you to live. I know urgency can make your heart tighten. You have heard strong voices before. Some demanded answers before you were ready. Some used pressure to control you. Some made you believe every warning meant punishment was near. So when I speak with seriousness, part of you braces. You wonder whether I am disappointed. My beloved child, listen carefully. I am not rushing toward you with anger. I am coming toward you with love. There is a kind of urgency that comes from panic. It fills the mind with confusion. It makes every decision feel dangerous. It tells you that if you do not act perfectly, everything will collapse. That is not my voice. My urgency carries clarity. It tells you that the burden you keep carrying is too costly to ignore. It reveals that the decision you continue postponing is touching more areas of your heart than you realize. Love speaks when silence would allow harm to continue. Think about a shepherd who notices one sheep moving toward the edge of a steep place. He does not wait until the sheep falls before calling. He moves closer. His voice becomes firmer. The firmness is not rejection. It is protection. My beloved child, I see where your steps are leading before you can always see it. I see the habit that promises relief but leaves you emptier. I see the relationship where you continue shrinking to keep another person comfortable. I see the compromise that looks small at first but has begun to influence your peace. I see the boundary you know is needed, but you fear the reaction it may bring. I am not pointing these things out to embarrass you. I am speaking because I know what they are costing you. You have learned how to survive under pressure. You can keep functioning while your inner world grows tired. You can smile complete responsibilities and still feel that something is quietly slipping away. I notice. I see how your body becomes tense when a familiar name appears. I see the mornings when you promise yourself today will be different, then return to the same pattern because change feels too complicated. My beloved child, love does not shame you for this. Love helps you stop. There is a moment in Scripture when an angel hurried Lot and his family out of a city that could no longer remain their home. The urgency was not meant to terrify them. It was mercy, refusing to let hesitation keep them in a place they needed to leave. Yet hesitation was human. Leaving what is familiar can feel frightening even when the familiar has become harmful. You may know something must change and still grieve what change will cost. You may know a door must close and still remember the good moments behind it. You may know you need to move and still wish you could remain where everything is predictable. I understand that conflict. I am not asking you to deny it. I am asking you not to let conflict become permanent delay. My beloved child, you keep waiting for a future version of yourself to make the decision. You imagine that person will feel stronger. They will know exactly what to say. They will have enough support, peace, and certainty. But the future version you are waiting for is formed by the honest choices you make now. Strength is not always what arrives before obedience. Sometimes strength grows because you obey while still trembling. Remember Esther standing before the king. She did not move because every fear had disappeared. She moved because love for her people became greater than her desire to remain safe and silent. Her courage was not the absence of fear. It was a clear answer in the presence of fear. That is what I am inviting from you. Not panic, not recklessness, not a dramatic act that ignores wisdom. I am asking for honest attention. Ask yourself what keeps returning to your heart when the noise becomes quiet. What truth have you been negotiating with? What conversation have you delayed? What do you keep asking me to explain after I have already shown you the next faithful step? My beloved child, some decisions require time, counsel, prayer, careful preparation. I will never ask you to ignore safety or wisdom, but there is a difference between patient discernment and endless avoidance. Discernment moves toward truth. Avoidance circles around it. Discernment gathers wisdom. Avoidance gathers excuses. Discernment may wait for the right moment. Avoidance keeps moving the moment farther away. You know the difference because you feel it inside. One kind of waiting produces steadiness. The other drains your peace. I am calling your attention to the place where waiting has become hiding. Do not condemn yourself for hiding. Simply come out. Bring me the fear beneath the delay. Perhaps you fear hurting someone. Perhaps you fear being alone. Perhaps you fear choosing wrongly and regretting it. Perhaps you fear that if you release what is familiar, nothing better will come. Tell me the truth. I can work with honesty. I cannot guide the version of you that keeps pretending there is no decision to make. My beloved child, I am not demanding that you solve everything in one night. I am asking you to stop calling the burden ordinary. I am asking you to stop pretending the ache will disappear without attention. I am asking you to stop making a home in the place between knowing and responding. Take one sincere step. Write down what you know. Pray without editing your words. Speak with someone wise and trustworthy. Remove one form of access that keeps pulling you backward. Begin one action that reflects the truth you have received. The step may look small, but small obedience can change the direction of an entire season. The urgency is not saying hurry or I will leave you. It is saying come closer because I have not left you. It is not saying prove that you deserve another chance. It is saying stop running from the mercy already reaching toward you. My beloved child, love has been patient with you. Love has stayed through every delay. Love has listened to every excuse without confusing the excuse for your identity. But patience does not mean I will call bondage peace. I love you too much to bless the pattern that keeps diminishing you. I love you too much to let fear speak as though it owns your future. I love you too much to remain silent while your heart stands near a necessary change. So let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing slow. Do not hear this seriousness as a verdict. Hear it as my hand reaching toward you. I am not here to condemn you. I am here to pull you away from what has been quietly harming you and lead you toward freedom. Stay close to me, my beloved child. What you are hearing is not rejection. It is rescue. My beloved child, what you are hearing is not rejection. It is rescue. I know those words may be difficult for part of you to believe. You have experienced correction that felt cold. You have known people who used truth without tenderness, authority without compassion, and spiritual language without love. Their voices taught your body to become tense whenever something serious was spoken. So when I come close and name what must change, your heart may prepare for punishment. My beloved child, that is not what I am doing. I am not approaching you as an accuser. I am approaching you as the one who knows where the wound is and refuses to let it remain untreated. There is a difference between condemnation and conviction. Condemnation tells you that you are the problem and there is no way forward. Conviction reveals the problem and then takes your hand toward freedom. Condemnation pushes your face toward the dirt. Conviction helps you stand and walk in a new direction. Condemnation says you should hide. My voice says come into the light because healing is possible here. You have often confused these voices because fear speaks quickly. It takes one mistake and turns it into a final sentence. It tells you that because you fell again, nothing in you has changed. It says I must be tired of your weakness. I knew the full story before I called your name. I knew every detour, every compromise, every night you would feel ashamed, and every morning you would wonder whether you still had the right to come near. My love remains when the hidden parts become fully visible. Remember the man lying beside the pool for many years. When I approached him, I did not begin by humiliating him for how long he had remained there. I asked a direct question because I wanted to awaken the part of him that had stopped imagining movement. Do you want to be made well? I saw the excuses, the disappointment, the years of waiting, and the belief that someone else always reached the water first. Yet I did not reduce him to the place where he had been lying. I called him to rise. My beloved child, I am calling you to rise in the same spirit, not because I despise where you have been, but because I know you were not created to remain there forever. Rescue sometimes comforts. Rescue also interrupts. If a house begins filling with smoke, the person who loves you will not stand outside and speak so softly that you never wake. They will call your name. They may shake your shoulder. They may lead you out before you understand everything that is happening. The urgency is not hatred of your sleep. It is love for your life. I am not exposing the smoke to shame you for being inside the house. I am showing it to you because there is still time to walk out. My beloved child, you have mistaken discomfort for rejection before. A truth challenged you and you assumed I was moving away. A door closed and you assumed I no longer cared. A consequence arrived and you decided I was punishing you. But sometimes discomfort is the moment feeling returns to a place that has been numb. Sometimes a closed door keeps you from entering a room that would have cost you your peace. Sometimes consequences reveal what your heart has been unwilling to admit. But I will use the truth already present in your life to lead you out of what is harming you. My beloved child, let your defenses soften. You do not need to argue your case before me. You do not need to explain why you stayed so long, why you returned, why you ignored the signs, or why you kept hoping the situation would become different. I already understand. I know the fear beneath the choice. I know the loneliness beneath the attachment. I know the part of you that believed letting go would mean admitting that the years, prayers, and effort were wasted. Nothing has to be wasted when it is placed in my hands. Even the season that taught you through pain can become wisdom. Even the decision you regret can become a boundary that protects your future. Even the relationship that wounded you can teach you what love must never require again. Rescue does not erase your history. It changes what your history is allowed to do next. Your past may explain your fear. It does not have to command your future. My beloved child, do not run from the place where truth is meeting you. Stay, breathe. Let me separate who you are from what you have done. Let me separate your value from the response of people who did not know how to love you well. Let me separate your future from the pattern that keeps repeating. You are not being called out so you can be pushed away. You are being called out of hiding so you can come home. Think of the woman who was brought before me while others stood ready to condemn her. They wanted one moment to become her entire identity. They wanted shame to have the final word. I did not deny that her life needed a new direction, but I refused to let cruelty speak for me. I protected her dignity, silenced the accusers, and then called her toward freedom. That is how I meet you. I do not agree with every choice you have made. I also do not agree with the lie that your choices have made you unreachable. I will speak honestly about what must change. I will also remain close while you learn to change it. My beloved child, rescue may require you to release something familiar. It may require you to seek wise help, leave an unsafe situation, stop feeding a destructive habit, or admit that your strength is no longer enough. None of these things prove that you have failed beyond repair. They prove that you are becoming willing to live in truth. You do not need to punish yourself before accepting help. You do not need to become miserable enough to prove that you understand your mistake. Repentance means turning. It is allowing love to redirect your steps. It is saying, I will no longer defend what keeps damaging the life you gave me. My beloved child, I am not standing behind you with a record of accusations. I am standing before you with a way forward. Open your hands. Release the need to protect yourself from me. I am not the voice that mocked your weakness. I am not the person who left when you became difficult. I am not the one who used your honesty against you. You do not have to bring those old expectations into this moment. This is rescue. And as your fear of condemnation begins to loosen, you will be able to look more clearly at the pressure you have been feeling. You have called that pressure evidence that you are falling apart. But my beloved child, you may have been reading it the wrong way. My beloved child, you may have been reading the pressure around you the wrong way. You have called it proof that you are falling apart. You have looked at the noise in your mind, the tension in your body, and the heaviness in your emotions, and you have assumed that something inside you is failing. But pressure does not always mean collapse. Sometimes it reveals what can no longer remain hidden. Sometimes it exposes the places where your life has been stretched beyond what is healthy. Sometimes it shows you that an old pattern is losing its ability to keep you numb. And sometimes, my beloved child, pressure is simply a warning that you need rest, support, wisdom, or a different pace. I do not want you to romanticize every difficult feeling. Not every hard season is a sign that a breakthrough is one step away. Not every closed door is an attack. Not every restless night carries a hidden prophecy. There are moments when your body is tired because it needs sleep. There are moments when your heart is overwhelmed because you have been carrying too much. There are moments when fear grows because you have stayed too long in an environment that keeps you tense. Discernment matters. I am teaching you to ask better questions. Instead of asking, "Why am I so weak?" ask, "What is this pressure revealing?" Instead of saying, "I must be going backward," ask, "What has become impossible to ignore?" Instead of assuming you must push harder, ask whether I am inviting you to slow down, seek help, or change direction. My beloved child, pressure can speak, but it must not become your master. You have spent too long letting intensity decide what is true. But feelings are signals, not final judges. A racing heart can mean danger, but it can also remember an old danger that is no longer present. A heavy chest can mean grief, exhaustion, anxiety, or the strain of holding words you need to speak. A restless spirit may be conviction, but it may also be the result of never allowing yourself to be still. This is why I am asking you to come closer, rather than panic. In my presence, pressure can be examined without being worshipped. Remember Elijah beneath the tree. He had stood with courage, prayed with faith, and witnessed great things. Then exhaustion came over him so strongly that he believed he could not continue. I did not shame him for the crash after the victory. I gave him sleep. I gave him food. I let him rest before asking him to move again. My beloved child, sometimes the most spiritual response to pressure is not another speech, another promise, or another hour of forcing yourself forward. You have been calling yourself lazy when you are depleted. You have been calling yourself unstable when you are carrying grief. You have been calling yourself faithless when your nervous system has been living on alert for too long. If you call exhaustion rebellion, you may punish yourself when you need restoration. If you call fear wisdom, you may remain trapped in avoidance. If you call constant tension responsibility, you may keep accepting what is harming you. If you call every discomfort an attack, you may miss the truth that one of your habits, relationships, or expectations needs to change. My beloved child, I am not asking you to become suspicious of everything around you. I am asking you to become honest. Is it a conversation you keep postponing? Is it the effort required to maintain an image that no longer reflects how you truly feel? Is it the habit of saying yes when your heart and body are already saying enough? Is it the uncertainty of a decision you refuse to make? Is it a workload no human being could carry well for long? Is it a relationship where you never know which version of the other person you will meet? You cannot respond wisely to a Devon. Pressure, you keep describing only as something being wrong with you. Sometimes your distress is a reasonable response to an unreasonable situation. Sometimes the tension is telling you that your boundaries have been crossed too many times. Sometimes the sadness is asking you to grieve what you keep pretending did not matter. Sometimes the anger is revealing that a value has been violated. And sometimes the confusion is the result of receiving mixed messages for so long that you no longer trust your own perception. Bring me the facts, not only the fear. What happened? Do not make a life-changing decision from one intense moment, but do not use caution as a reason to ignore a pattern that has been clear for months. Wisdom listens, tests, prays, seeks counsel, and then moves when truth becomes clear. My beloved child, there is another kind of pressure you have felt lately. What once distracted you no longer satisfies you in the same way. The familiar escape leaves you emptier. The compromise you once defended now troubles your peace. The conversation you avoided keeps returning to your thoughts. The old version of your life has begun to feel too small for what I am awakening within you. This discomfort may not mean you are losing ground. It may mean you can no longer return comfortably to what kept you asleep. Think of Israel after leaving Egypt. Their bodies had crossed the sea, but their thoughts still returned to the familiar food and predictable bondage behind them. Freedom felt uncertain. Slavery felt known. The pressure of the wilderness exposed how deeply the old life had entered their imagination. My beloved child, transition often feels confusing because the old place no longer fits, while the new place is not yet familiar. You may feel stretched between what you have outgrown and what you have not yet learned to inhabit. Do not mistake that tension for proof that you should return. But also do not rush ahead without listening. Let me teach you how to walk through transition with patience. Take the next honest step. Rest when your body needs rest. Ask for help when the weight is too much. Set the boundary that truth requires. Release the habit that keeps deepening the pressure. Allow time for your emotions to catch up with the decision your wisdom already understands. My beloved child, heaven has seen the small ways you have already been changing. The moment you paused before reacting, the night you did not return to the old escape, the conversation where you spoke one honest sentence instead of hiding everything, the morning you got up even though discouragement told you to remain down. Do not despise these quiet victories. Roots grow where applause cannot reach them. You may not see the full change yet, but something real is being formed. Still, pressure has also been used against you in another way. It has made you question who you are. It has taken your hardest moments and tried to turn them into names. Stay close to me, my beloved child. We are ready to expose the voice of shame that has been trying to rename you. My beloved child, stay close to me. The pressure you have been carrying has not only made you tired, it has also made you question who you are. Somewhere along the way, shame began taking your hardest moments and turning them into names. You made a mistake and shame called you a failure. Someone left and shame called you unlovable. A door closed and shame called you unwanted. You struggled to change and shame called you hopeless. You became tired and shame called you weak. My beloved child, shame does not simply describe what happened. It tries to decide who you are because of what happened. That is why its voice feels so heavy. Guilt can say, I did something that needs to be faced. Shame says, I am something that can never be repaired. Guilt can lead you toward honesty. Shame pushes you toward hiding. Guilt can help you make amends. Shame tells you there is no point in trying because your worst moment has already revealed the truth about you. But shame is not telling the truth. It is telling a wound what to call itself. You have heard this voice for so long that it no longer sounds like an attack. It sounds like your own thinking. It appears after disappointment. It enters when you look in the mirror on a difficult day. It speaks when someone does not answer, when progress feels slow, or when an old memory returns. You say, I am always this way. You say, I never change. You say, I ruin everything good. You say, people eventually discover that I am too much. My beloved child, those sentences did not begin in your spirit. Some of them began in a home where love was mixed with criticism. Some began in a relationship where another person's anger became your definition. Some began in a classroom, a church, a workplace, or a moment of public embarrassment. Some began when people spoke carelessly, and you were too young, too tired, or too wounded to separate their words from your identity. You carried those names forward. You repeated them until they became familiar. But familiar is not the same as true. Repetition can make a lie feel like settled truth. Remember Jacob. For years, his name was connected to grasping, striving, and trying to secure blessing through his own effort. His history carried deception, fear, and divided relationships. Yet when I met him in the night, I did not leave him under the old name. I gave him a new one. I did not deny his past. I refused to let his past remain his final identity. My beloved child, I still do this. I meet people where their history is loudest and speak a name their history could not create. The world may remember what you did. Shame may replay what happened. But I see the person who can still be transformed. I see the tenderness that survived disappointment. I see the courage hidden beneath hesitation. I see the wisdom growing from what you regret. I see the part of you that still wants truth, even after years of running from it. Do not confuse my correction with shame. When I reveal something that must change, I am not renaming you according to the problem. A doctor does not become the disease because the disease has been identified. A field is not called barren forever because one season produced no harvest. A house is not worthless because one room needs repair. My beloved child, you are not the condition I am healing. You are the one I am healing. You are not the pattern I am helping you break. You are the one learning freedom. You are not the fear that keeps visiting. You are the one becoming brave enough to stop obeying it. Shame speaks in absolutes. Always. Never. Everyone. No one. Nothing will change. Everything is ruined. My voice speaks truth with room for redemption. Yes, this choice caused harm. Yes, that habit needs to end. Yes, this relationship has affected you deeply. Yes, you must take responsibility where responsibility belongs, but none of those truths require you to hate yourself. Self-hatred is not repentance. Punishing yourself is not healing. Repeating cruel names does not make you humble. True humility is willing to see both weakness and grace. It says, I need help, and I am still loved. It says I was wrong and I can choose differently. It says I cannot repair the past, but I can walk honestly today. My beloved child, shame wants you isolated because isolation protects its lies. It tells you that if safe people knew the full story, they would turn away. So you edit your words, you hide the parts that need care. You offer a version of yourself that can be accepted without asking anyone to hold the truth. Then you wonder why connection feels thin. Healing often begins when one hidden sentence is spoken in a safe place, not to everyone, not without wisdom, but to someone trustworthy who knows how to listen without using your pain against you. Shame grows in secrecy. Grace grows where truth is met with love. Remember Peter after he denied me. He had spoken with confidence, then failed in the exact place where he believed he would remain strong. Shame could have named him coward, traitor, and disappointment forever, but I met him again. I did not pretend the denial had not happened. I asked him about love. I restored responsibility. I gave him a future that included the memory, but was not controlled by it. My beloved child, failure is an event. It is not your permanent name. Rejection is an experience. It is not your value. Delay is a season. It is not your identity. Pain is part of your story. It is not the author. Take a slow breath now. Notice the name shame uses most often against you. Do not run from it. Bring it into my presence. Ask where you first learned it. Ask what evidence you keep using to defend it. Ask what it has cost you to believe it. Then say, this name came from fear, pain, or another person's limitation. It did not come from my Creator. You may not feel free immediately. Old names can remain emotionally familiar even after you recognize they are false. But each time you refuse to repeat them, their authority weakens. Each time you choose a truer sentence, your mind learns another path. Say, I made a mistake, but I am not beyond repair. Say, I was rejected, but I am not without worth. Say, I am still healing, but I am not hopeless. Say, I need help, but I am not a burden. My beloved child, I am not asking you to flatter yourself. I am asking you to stop cooperating with cruelty. The voice of shame has spoken long enough. It has stood in the center of your thoughts and acted as though it belonged there. Now another voice must take that place. Stay close to me. It is time for my voice to become the loudest voice in the room. My beloved child, stay close to me. The voice of shame has spoken long enough. It has repeated old names until they sounded familiar. It has entered quiet rooms, difficult mornings, and moments when your confidence was weak. It has spoken as though it had authority to define you. Now let my voice become the loudest voice in the room. Not the loudest because I shout over your pain. The loudest because truth must finally be given more weight than fear. You have listened to many voices. The voice of disappointment told you that your future would resemble your past. The voice of rejection told you that people leaving proved you were not worth staying for. The voice of comparison told you that everyone else had been given something you somehow missed. The voice of regret told you that one wrong turn had ruined the entire road. My beloved child, none of those voices knows you the way I do. They know moments. I know your whole story. They know the version of you that appeared under pressure. I know the person beneath the reaction. They know where you fell. I know how many times you tried to stand again. They know what was visible. I know what happened in the hidden places no one else could see. That is why my voice must become more important than every conclusion formed from incomplete evidence. You have often given people the power to name you simply because they spoke with confidence. A parent, partner, leader, friend, or stranger said something sharp, and because the words arrived during a vulnerable moment, they remained inside you. But confidence does not make a voice correct. Volume does not make a voice trustworthy. Familiarity does not make a voice mine. My beloved child, learn the character of my voice. My voice is honest, but it is never cruel. My voice may uncover what needs to change, but it also shows you where grace is waiting. My voice does not flatter you. It does not tell you that every choice was wise or every reaction was harmless, but it never reduces you to the thing being corrected. When I say this path is hurting you, I am not saying you are hopeless. When I say this relationship needs truth, I am not saying you are difficult to love. When I say this habit must end, I am not saying your struggle has canceled your worth. My correction always points toward life. The voice of shame points only toward hiding. Remember how I called Gideon a mighty warrior while he was hiding in fear. I did not wait for courage to become visible before speaking to what I had placed within him. My beloved child, I do not name you according to your weakest hour. I speak to the person I created, and the person grace is still forming. This does not mean you ignore reality. It means you stop allowing pain to interpret reality alone. Pain sees only what was lost. I also see what was learned. Fear sees only what could go wrong. I also see the wisdom now growing inside you. Regret sees only the door you should not have entered. I also see the discernment that may protect your future. Let my perspective become stronger than the wound's perspective. You may ask, how do I recognize your voice when so many thoughts sound convincing? Begin with what my voice produces. Does the thought lead you toward honesty or toward self-hatred? Does it invite responsibility or demand punishment? Does it create clarity or endless confusion? Does it lead you toward wise action or leave you frozen in fear? Does it allow room for grace, patience, and truth? At the same time, my beloved child, my voice may challenge you, but it will not strip away your dignity. It may call you to wait, but it will not mock your longing. It may tell you to release something, but it will not laugh at your grief. It may ask for courage, but it will remain near while your hands are still trembling. Often my voice comes through a truth that remains steady after emotional noise settles. It may come through a boundary you have resisted but can no longer deny. It may come through the quiet knowledge that peace cannot grow while you keep choosing what disturbs it. Do not confuse intensity with guidance. Fear often feels urgent. Wisdom often feels steady. Give truth time to settle. Pray. Listen. Test what you hear. Ask whether it agrees with my character. Ask whether it produces the fruit of honesty, love, courage, patience, and self-control. My beloved child, you also need to change the way you speak after hearing my voice. Agreement matters. If I call you loved while you continue calling yourself unworthy, two voices are fighting for your attention. If I call you capable of change while you keep saying I will always be this way, you continue strengthening the old name. Your words do not control every circumstance, but repeated words shape the atmosphere inside your mind. Speak what is true even before it feels natural. Say, I am loved while I am still learning. Say, I can take responsibility without destroying myself. Say, I am not abandoned because an answer has not arrived. Say, my past can teach me without owning me. Say, I can grieve what ended and still move forward. These are not empty affirmations. You are choosing to agree with grace instead of accusation. My beloved child, this practice will require patience. The old voices have had years of repetition. They may return when you are tired, lonely, embarrassed, or uncertain. Do not panic when they return. Recognition is already progress. The moment you notice, that is shame speaking. You have created distance between the voice and your identity. Then answer it, not with anger, not with fear, with truth. Say that mistake is part of my history, but it is not my name. Say that rejection hurt me, but it did not determine my value. Say I am still becoming, and becoming takes time. My beloved child, let my words become the place you return to. When people misunderstand, you return. When an old memory rises, return. When progress feels slow, return. When your emotions question everything, return. I am not asking you to feel strong every day. I am asking you to know where strength comes from when you do not. Let my voice remind you that you are still here for a reason. Let it remind you that your tenderness is not weakness. Let it remind you that your need for help does not make you a burden. Let it remind you that a closed door is not always rejection. Let it remind you that obedience may feel costly and still lead toward peace. And as my voice becomes louder than shame, another truth will become impossible to ignore. You have heard my direction before. You have known where truth was leading. But you have remained in the space between knowing and choosing. My beloved child, you have lived between two doors for too long. My beloved child, you have heard my direction before. You have known where truth was leading, but you have remained in the space between knowing and choosing. You have lived between two doors for too long. One door opens toward what is familiar. It holds the patterns you understand, the habits that have helped you avoid truth. The other door opens toward honesty. You sense that peace is somewhere beyond it, but you also know that walking through will require something from you. It may require courage. It may require grief. It may require a conversation you have postponed, a boundary you have feared, or the release of something you once believed would remain forever. So you stand between the doors. You tell yourself you are being careful. You ask for another sign, another feeling, another moment of certainty. My beloved child, I understand why. Indecision can feel safer than loss. As long as you do not choose, you can keep both possibilities alive. You can tell yourself the old situation may still improve, while also dreaming about the freedom that might come if you finally leave it behind. But living divided has a cost. The hallway between two doors was never meant to become your home. You have been trying to rest in a place designed only for passing through. That is why your spirit feels unsettled. Part of you keeps reaching backward. Another part keeps leaning forward. Your body remains in the middle, exhausted from serving two directions. My beloved child, indecision does not stay contained inside one choice. It enters your sleep. It follows you into prayer. It affects your patience with people who have nothing to do with the decision. It drains energy from work, relationships, and ordinary moments. You wake already tired because your mind has been arguing all night. You replay the same possibilities. You imagine every outcome. You try to protect yourself from regret by refusing to choose, but the refusal creates its own regret. A delayed decision is still shaping your life. It is shaping what you tolerate. It is shaping what you postpone. It is shaping who continues to have access to you. It is shaping the person you are becoming while you wait. My beloved child, some waiting is wise. There are decisions that require prayer, counsel, safety planning, preparation, and time. I will not ask you to confuse impulsiveness with faith. But wise waiting has movement within it. It gathers truth. It seeks counsel. It prepares. It becomes clearer. Avoidance only circles. It asks the same question without receiving the answer already given. It collects more opinions after truth has become uncomfortable. It keeps changing the standard for what would count as enough clarity. You know the difference because one kind of waiting brings deeper steadiness while the other slowly steals your peace. Ask yourself honestly, have I been discerning or have I been delaying? Have I been preparing or have I been hiding? Have I been waiting for wisdom or waiting for fear to disappear completely? My beloved child, fear may not disappear before you choose. Sometimes fear grows quiet only after your life begins moving in a truthful direction. Remember the people of Israel standing at the edge of the sea. Behind them was the power that had enslaved them. In front of them was a path they could not yet see. They could not return without surrendering freedom. They could not move forward without trusting me before the road appeared. Then I told them to go forward. The way opened as they moved. My beloved child, I am not saying every difficult decision will unfold dramatically. Often the path opens through one act of obedience. One honest email, one appointment, one boundary spoken calmly, one confession, one application, one conversation with a wise person. One night when you stop returning to the habit that keeps weakening you. The step may look smaller than the decision feels. Do not despise that. Large changes often begin through quiet actions that finally agree with truth. You have waited for a feeling powerful enough to carry you through the whole journey, but I am offering enough strength for the next step. You do not need to feel ready for everything that follows. You need to become willing for what is clear today. My beloved child, let us name what has kept you in the hallway. Perhaps it is hope. Not healthy hope rooted in my character, but hope attached to another person's potential. You keep waiting for them to become who they have repeatedly chosen not to be. Perhaps it is grief. Choosing means admitting that the future you imagined may never happen in the form you wanted. Perhaps it is guilt. You fear that protecting your peace will disappoint someone who benefited from your lack of boundaries. Perhaps it is pride. You do not want to admit that something you defended for years is no longer right for you. Perhaps it is uncertainty. You want a guarantee that the new direction will be painless before releasing the old one. My beloved child, I cannot promise that every truthful choice will feel easy. I can promise that continuing to betray what you know will keep dividing your heart. There is pain in change. There is also pain in remaining where truth has already told you that you cannot stay. One pain leads through healing. the other repeats itself. Do not choose familiar suffering simply because unfamiliar freedom feels uncertain. Take a slow breath. Bring the decision into my presence without editing it. Do not begin with what others expect. Do not begin with how they may react. Do not begin with the worst outcome fear can imagine. Begin with truth. What has this situation been producing in you? Does it lead toward honesty, peace, love, wisdom, and self-respect? Or does it repeatedly produce confusion, fear, resentment, secrecy, and exhaustion? What have you learned from the pattern, not merely from the promise? What would you advise someone you love if they were living this same story? My beloved child, you already possess more clarity than you admit. You may not know every consequence, but you know what cannot continue unchanged. That knowledge matters. Let it be enough to stop pretending there is no choice before you. You do not need to announce everything tonight. You do not need to create conflict to prove that you are brave. You do need to stop making agreements with delay. Write down what you know. Seek wise counsel where the decision is serious. Prepare carefully where safety or responsibility is involved. Then choose the first truthful movement. My beloved child, peace often begins before circumstances change. It begins when the division inside you ends. It begins when your heart no longer has to argue with what your spirit already understands. You have lived between two doors for too long. The hallway has taught you what it could teach. Now the next part of your journey will require more than recognition. A decision held only inside your thoughts cannot reshape your life. Stay close to me. A real decision must become a real action. My beloved child, a real decision must become a real action. You have already recognized that the hallway between two doors cannot remain your home. You have admitted that delay has been draining your peace, dividing your attention, and weakening your confidence. Now truth must move from your thoughts into your life. A decision that never changes your behavior is only a private intention. It may comfort you briefly, but if your choices remain the same, the old pattern still receives permission to continue. My beloved child, I do not say this to pressure you into acting carelessly. Wisdom, prayer, safety counsel, and preparation matter. But once truth has become clear, endless preparation can become another form of hiding. You may plan the conversation and never speak. You may imagine the boundary and never communicate it. You may decide to end the habit, then keep every doorway open. You may feel called to begin something, yet continue researching while waiting for confidence that action itself was meant to build. My beloved child, movement makes a decision visible. Think of Noah. He did not only agree that rain was coming, he gathered wood and built. Every ordinary act of obedience gave physical form to what he believed. The result was not immediately visible. Still, his hands agreed with the word he had received. What does agreement look like in your life? If the decision is to seek help, make the appointment. If the decision is to establish a boundary, choose clear words and speak them calmly. If the decision is to leave an unsafe situation, contact trusted support, prepare a safe plan, and refuse to face danger alone. If the decision is to begin a calling, complete the first small task. If the decision is to release a destructive habit, remove access, change your routine, and tell someone who can help you, remain honest. My beloved child, the first action does not need to be dramatic. It needs to be real. You have sometimes mistaken emotional intensity for change. Then the feeling faded, and because no structure changed, the old life quietly resumed. Do not condemn yourself for that pattern. Learn from it. Strong feelings can open the door, but faithful actions carry you through it. My beloved child, ask yourself what action would make your decision undeniable, not to impress anyone, not to create a dramatic story, to make your inner yes visible in the world where you actually live. Perhaps you need to write the date of the appointment. Perhaps you need to delete the number you keep using when loneliness becomes stronger than wisdom. Perhaps you need to move money, gather documents, or speak with someone qualified before making a serious transition. Perhaps you need to apologize without adding an excuse. Perhaps you need to say, I cannot continue participating in this pattern. Perhaps you need to wake earlier, turn off the distraction, and give your first quiet minutes to the work you keep saying matters. My beloved child, half decisions are dangerous because they imitate relief. You tell yourself you have chosen, but you leave every escape route open. You say the relationship is over, but continue checking for signs that the person has changed. You say the habit no longer controls you, but keep it close enough to return during a difficult night. You say you will protect your peace, but still answer every demand immediately. You say you trust me, but continue monitoring the outcome as though nothing can survive without your control. A half decision divides the heart. It allows one part of you to move forward, while another part secretly negotiates with the past. This is why clarity can disappear after a few days. The old access was never removed. The old agreement was never fully broken. My beloved child, closing a door does not always mean acting harshly. Sometimes it means changing a routine. Sometimes it means becoming less available. Sometimes it means refusing to continue an argument that never produces truth. Sometimes it means accepting that someone may misunderstand your boundary. Sometimes it means grieving privately, instead of reopening what wisdom has already closed. Let your actions become calm evidence that your decision is real. You do not need to announce everything. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone. You do not need to turn obedience into a performance. Quiet consistency often carries more power than a dramatic declaration. Remember the servants at the wedding in Cana. They were told to fill ordinary jars with water. The instruction may have seemed unrelated to the need before them, but they acted on what was clear. The transformation became visible after obedience entered the ordinary task. My beloved child, you may be waiting for a miracle before you act. Sometimes the miracle meets you within the action, not because your effort controls me, but because movement places you where the next part can be revealed. Make the call, send the message, ask the question, begin the plan, take the first safe and honest step. Then let tomorrow contain tomorrow's obedience. Do not try to complete the whole journey in one burst of courage. That will exhaust you. Real change is often built through repeated choices that look small from the outside. One truthful morning, one protected evening, one boundary honored, one promise kept, one return to wisdom after an old feeling rises. My beloved child, there will be resistance. The moment your actions begin matching your decision, the old pattern may become louder. You may suddenly remember only the comfortable parts. You may question whether you overreacted. You may feel guilty for disappointing someone. You may become afraid that nothing better is ahead. Do not interpret every difficult emotion as a command to reverse direction. Feelings need time to adjust when a familiar pattern loses access to your life. Bring those feelings to me. Discuss them with wise people. Review the truth that led to the decision. If new information shows that adjustment is needed, humility can adjust. But do not abandon a wise choice simply because grief, fear, or loneliness arrived. My beloved child, let your next action be grounded, not rushed. Let it be prayerful, not impulsive. Let it be honest, not dramatic. Let it protect life, dignity, and truth. You are not proving your faith by ignoring wise preparation. You are expressing faith by allowing what you know to shape what you do. The first step may make your hands tremble. Take it carefully. The conversation may leave your heart heavy. Speak truth with kindness. The boundary may bring silence from people who benefited from your lack of one. Let silence remain without chasing approval. Your life will begin to feel different when your actions no longer contradict your deepest understanding. Peace may not arrive as excitement. It may arrive as the quiet relief of no longer betraying yourself. My beloved child, a real decision must become a real action. And when that action finally closes what has remained open too long, another emotion may rise. Grief. Do not assume grief means the decision was wrong. Stay close to me. The right decision can still break your heart. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have taken a real step. You have allowed truth to move from your thoughts into your life. And now your heart may be aching in a way you did not expect. Do not assume the pain means you chose wrongly. The right decision can still break your heart. You can close a door because wisdom requires it and still grieve what once lived behind it. You can set a boundary and still miss the person who crossed it. You can leave what was harming you and still remember the moments that felt beautiful. My beloved child, grief does not cancel discernment. It does not prove that the old place was safe. It proves that something mattered to you. You are not weak because tears came after courage. You are not confused because relief and sadness arrived together. Human hearts are capable of carrying more than one truth at the same time. You can know the relationship was draining you and still mourn what you hoped it would become. You can know the habit was destroying your peace and still feel the pull of the comfort it once offered. You can know the season is over and still wish it had ended differently. My beloved child, do not force yourself to feel only one thing. Healing becomes harder when you believe every emotion must agree before you can move forward. Your wisdom may understand first, your actions may follow. Your emotions may need time to catch up. Give them that time. You have spent years believing that a correct decision should produce immediate peace. Sometimes peace comes quietly beneath the grief. It may not feel like joy. It may feel like the absence of inner argument. It may feel like finally knowing where you stand even while your eyes are still wet. That is still peace. Remember Abraham walking with Isaac toward the mountain. His obedience did not remove the anguish from the journey. Faith did not make his heart numb. Trust did not turn him into stone. My beloved child, true faith does not require you to stop feeling. It asks you to keep walking honestly while feeling. You have confused emotional pain with spiritual failure because people taught you that strong faith always looks calm. But many of the most faithful moments in Scripture included trembling tears, questions, and sorrow. Hannah prayed while deeply distressed. David wept while still trusting. Jesus grieved in the garden while remaining surrendered. Pain and obedience have stood beside each other before. They can stand beside each other in you. My beloved child, some of your grief is for what actually happened. Some is for what never happened. You are grieving the apology you never received, the change you kept expecting, the future you pictured, the version of the person you loved more than the person they consistently chose to be. You may be grieving years of effort, patience, prayer, and hope. That grief deserves honesty. Do not call those years meaningless. They shaped your understanding. They revealed your capacity to love. They taught you where compassion must be joined with boundaries. They showed you that hope without truth can become a chain. My beloved child, what you learned can remain even when what taught you must be released. You are allowed to miss something without returning to it. You are allowed to remember good moments without reopening access. You are allowed to love someone and still recognize that closeness with them is no longer healthy. You are allowed to grieve the ending without negotiating with the decision. This distinction will protect you. Missing is not guidance. Loneliness is not always a sign to go back. A wave of tenderness does not erase a pattern. A painful night does not rewrite the truth that became clear over many months. My beloved child, when grief rises, bring it to me before you bring it back to the place that wounded you. Let me hold the feeling without letting it make the decision. Say, I miss them, but I remember why I left. Say, I am sad, but sadness is not the same as confusion. Say, I wish it had been different, but I will not pretend it was. These words are not cold. They are honest. You may need to remove reminders for a season. You may need to stop checking for messages, updates, or signs. You may need to create distance from conversations that keep reopening the wound. This is not punishment. It is care. A physical wound cannot close if it is touched every hour. Your heart also needs protection while it begins to heal. My beloved child, do not shame yourself for needing that protection. You are not being dramatic. You are learning not to reopen what truth has asked you to let close. There may also be people who do not understand your grief. Some will say, if the decision was right, why are you sad? Others will tell you to move on quickly because they are uncomfortable with pain they cannot fix. You do not need to perform recovery for them. Grief has its own pace. Let wise people walk beside you. Choose those who can listen without pushing you backward or rushing you forward. Choose those who respect both your pain and your decision. My beloved child, you may also grieve the version of yourself who stayed too long. Be gentle with that person. They were trying to survive with the understanding they had. They hoped because hope once felt safer than loss. They delayed because fear felt larger than truth. Do not turn new clarity into a weapon against your former self. Thank that version of you for enduring. Then release them from the responsibility of leading your future. You know more now. You can choose differently now. That is growth. My beloved child, there will be moments when your heart asks whether the cost was worth it. You may look at the empty space left by the decision and wonder what will fill it. Do not rush to fill it with something familiar. Let the space become sacred. Let it teach you what peace feels like without constant tension. Let it show you where your energy was being spent. Let it become room for prayer, rest, new friendships, wiser choices, and a clearer sense of who you are. Empty does not always mean lacking. Sometimes empty means available. My beloved child, I can build in places you once feared to leave open. Trust the quiet work. You may not feel strong every day. You may cry over the door you closed. You may dream about the life you left. You may feel relief in the morning and sorrow by evening. None of this means you failed. It means your heart is learning to live inside a new truth. Stay close to me when the old feelings return. Do not let their return convince you that the decision was false. The next part of healing is learning that old emotions can revisit you without reclaiming your life. My beloved child, the return of old feelings does not mean you failed. My beloved child, the return of old feelings does not mean you failed. You made a truthful decision. You acted on what had become clear. You allowed a door to close, a boundary to stand, or a new direction to begin. Then the feelings came back. The sadness returned. The doubt returned. The familiar pull returned. You began wondering whether the change was real at all. My beloved child, do not confuse recurrence with defeat. An old feeling can revisit you without becoming your master again. A memory can rise without becoming an instruction. A longing can appear without becoming permission to return. Healing is not proven by never feeling what you once felt. Healing is shown by how you respond when those feelings come back. Before, the emotion led you immediately. Now you can notice it, name it, bring it to me. Wait before acting. You may think nothing has changed because the same ache entered your chest. But something has changed if the ache no longer makes every decision for you. My beloved child, progress is often quieter than you expected in this hidden season. You imagined freedom would feel like never thinking about the past again. You imagined peace would erase every trigger. You imagined one strong decision would remove every desire connected to the old pattern. But the human heart learns through repetition. Your body remembers routines. Your mind remembers familiar rewards. Your emotions remember what once felt safe, even when it was not truly healthy. Think of the Israelites after leaving Egypt. They had crossed the sea. The chains were behind them. Yet in the wilderness, hunger and uncertainty made them remember the food of bondage more clearly than the pain of bondage. Freedom had happened externally. Their inner world still needed time to understand it. My beloved child, you may also find yourself remembering what was comfortable while forgetting what it cost. That is why truth must remain close. When old feelings return, do not review only the best moments. Remember the whole pattern. Remember the confusion. Remember the nights you could not rest. Remember how often you abandoned your own needs to preserve something that kept hurting you. Remember the reason you finally chose differently. You do not need to make the past look evil in order to stay free from it. You only need to stop making it look safer than it was. My beloved child, emotions often move in waves. But when you panic at the wave, you may act as though it will remain forever. You may rush to escape the discomfort by returning to the very place you worked so hard to leave. Do not make permanent choices from temporary waves. Breathe, walk, pray, write what you are feeling. Call someone trustworthy. Let the wave move through without building a future around it. You can say, I feel lonely tonight, but loneliness is not guidance. You can say, I miss what was familiar, but familiarity is not the same as safety. You can say, I am afraid of the unknown, but fear does not get to choose for me. My beloved child, this is how a new direction becomes established. Not through one dramatic moment, but through many ordinary moments when you choose again. You choose not to send the message. You choose not to reopen the argument. You choose not to return to the habit. You choose to keep the appointment. You choose to rest instead of chasing reassurance. You choose to tell the truth when pretending would be easier. A tree does not become strong because one sunny day passed over it. Strength develops through seasons of wind, rain, heat, and stillness. The roots learn to hold because pressure comes, and the tree remains. My beloved child, your new life is learning to hold. Testing is not punishment. It is where truth becomes practiced. It is where a decision becomes character. It is where your yes moves from a moment into a way of living. Remember Peter after he stepped out of the boat. He walked toward me, then noticed the wind and became afraid. The fear did not erase the fact that he had stepped out. His sinking did not make the invitation false. He called to me. I reached for him. My beloved child, when an old feeling overwhelms you, call to me. Do not hide because you think you should be stronger by now. Do not turn one difficult day into a verdict about the entire journey. Return. That is what growing people do. They return more quickly. They recognize the patterns sooner. They ask for help before the damage becomes larger. They stop expecting perfection and begin practicing faithfulness. My beloved child, you may also discover that old feelings become stronger around certain people, places, songs, dates, or conversations. Your heart may need gentler boundaries while healing continues. You may need less access to someone who keeps reopening confusion. You may need to avoid environments connected to a destructive habit. You may need to change routines that leave you vulnerable when you are tired. You may need to tell trusted people what kind of support helps and what kind of advice does not. Wisdom prepares for predictable weakness. It does not shame weakness for existing. My beloved child, do not test your freedom by standing unnecessarily close to what once controlled you. You do not prove healing by reopening every door. You protect healing by respecting what it currently needs. There will come a time when certain memories no longer carry the same power. But do not rush that process to prove something. Let strength grow honestly. Let peace become stable. Let the new direction become familiar. My beloved child, some people may not understand why you still struggle after making the right choice. They may say, "I thought you were over this." They may become impatient with your process. Do not measure healing by another person's comfort. You are not required to recover on a schedule that makes others feel less inconvenienced. At the same time, do not use healing as a reason to avoid responsibility forever. Keep moving. Keep practicing truth. Keep receiving support. Keep taking the next faithful step. My beloved child, look at what is different now. You notice the feeling sooner. You question the thought instead of automatically believing it. You can sit with discomfort longer. You can ask for help. You can remember why you chose freedom. You can return to peace after being shaken. These are signs of growth. Do not ignore them because they are not dramatic. The old feeling returned, but so did wisdom. The old fear spoke, but truth answered. The old pull appeared, but your feet did not have to follow. My beloved child, that is not failure. That is transformation becoming real. And as the new direction becomes stronger, you will need to protect it carefully. Not everyone around you will understand the changes you are making. Some will support your healing. Some will miss the version of you that had no boundaries. Stay close to me. It is time to protect the new direction with wise relationships and clear boundaries. My beloved child, stay close to me. The old feelings may return, but they do not have to regain control. You are learning to recognize them, answer them with truth, and keep walking in the direction you chose. Now you must protect that direction. My beloved child, every new season needs protection while it is becoming strong. A young plant may be alive, but it is still vulnerable. It needs good soil, enough light, steady care, and protection from what would crush it before its roots grow deep. Your healing also needs an environment where it can take root. Some people will celebrate the changes you are making. Others may feel unsettled by them. They knew the version of you who always answered and rarely asked for anything in return. Your lack of boundaries may have made their lives easier, even while it made your heart tired. When you begin to say no, they may call you distant. When you stop accepting disrespect, they may call you difficult. When you take time to think before answering, they may accuse you of changing. My beloved child, change is exactly what has been happening. You are no longer agreeing to lose yourself in order to keep other people comfortable. That does not make you cruel. It means you are learning that love and self-abandonment are not the same thing. A boundary is not a weapon. It is a truthful line that protects what is healthy, honest, and life-giving. It says, "This is what I can carry. This is what I cannot continue accepting. This is how I am willing to communicate. This is what I will do if the pattern remains unchanged." My beloved child, boundaries do not control another person. They clarify your own responsibility. You cannot force someone to speak respectfully. You can decide whether you remain in a conversation where respect is repeatedly absent. You cannot make another person become honest. You can stop participating in confusion, secrecy, and manipulation. You cannot prevent everyone from being disappointed. You can refuse to let fear of disappointment become the ruler of your life. This is wisdom. Remember Nehemiah rebuilding the wall around Jerusalem. The work mattered, but opposition came. Some mocked, some threatened, Some tried to distract him with invitations that appeared reasonable. He answered with focus. He said he was doing important work and could not come down. My beloved child, there are moments when you must say the same. I am doing important work within you. You do not need to come down from that work every time someone demands access, explanation, or emotional labor. You are allowed to protect the rebuilding. You are allowed to say, I cannot discuss this right now. You are allowed to say, I need space to think and pray. You are allowed to say, I care about you, but I will not continue this conversation while I am being insulted. You are allowed to say, I am not available for the role you keep expecting me to play. Clear words may feel uncomfortable because you were trained to soften every truth until no boundary remained. You gave long reasons because you believed a boundary was valid only if everyone agreed with it. My beloved child, agreement is not required for a boundary to be necessary. You can speak kindly and still remain firm. You can listen without surrendering what wisdom has shown you. You can understand another person's feelings without making those feelings your command. Some people may react strongly when access changes. Their reaction does not automatically mean your boundary is wrong. At the same time, examine your heart. A healthy boundary protects peace and truth. It is not designed to punish, frighten, or make someone chase you. Do not use silence as control. Do not disappear merely to create anxiety. Do not call revenge a boundary. Let your actions remain honest. My beloved child, relationships also shape what becomes normal inside you. This is why you must choose your close circle carefully. Not everyone who cares about you has the wisdom to guide you. Not everyone who listens knows how to hold what you share. Not everyone who has known you for years has earned access to the most vulnerable parts of your new season. Look for people whose lives produce steadiness, people who can tell you the truth without humiliating you, people who respect your no, people who do not compete with your growth, people who can celebrate your progress without making it about themselves, people who encourage prayer, wisdom, responsibility, and safety instead of impulsive choices. My beloved child, you do not need a crowd. You need honest companionship. Your healing deserves people who honor truth, respect your pace, and help you remain faithful to truth. Remember how I sent the disciples in pairs. I did not design every difficult road to be walked alone. There are decisions that become clearer through wise counsel. There are nights when one calm voice can remind you of truth before fear pulls you backward. Ask me for such people, then become such a person. Listen well, keep confidence, respect boundaries. Speak truth with gentleness. Healthy relationships are not built only by finding safe people. They are also built by learning how to be safe. My beloved child, notice how you feel after spending time with someone. Do you leave grounded or confused? Do you feel free to be honest, or do you immediately begin editing yourself? Can disagreement exist without punishment? Can you say no without being threatened with rejection? Do their words and actions remain consistent? Your body often notices what your mind keeps explaining away. Do not ignore repeated tension, dread, or exhaustion. But do not make one awkward moment into a final judgment either. Look for patterns. Pray. Seek counsel. Let time reveal character. My beloved child, some relationships can be repaired through truth, humility, and mutual effort. Others may need greater distance. A boundary does not always mean an ending. Sometimes it creates the first honest chance for a relationship to become healthy. But repair requires more than promises. It requires responsibility, changed behavior, patience, and respect from both sides. You cannot rebuild alone while the other person continues damaging the foundation. Love does not require you to carry the entire relationship by yourself. My beloved child, protect the new direction without becoming hard. Keep your heart open to grace, but do not confuse grace with unlimited access. Forgive where forgiveness is needed, but let trust be rebuilt through consistency. Pray for people, but do not make prayer an excuse to remain where you are unsafe. Care deeply, but do not return to disappearing inside someone else's needs. You are learning a different way to love, a love that is truthful, a love that respects dignity, a love that can remain compassionate without surrendering wisdom. As you protect this new direction, something deeper may begin to surface. You may believe that healthy relationships, restoration, and peace are possible for others, while quietly wondering whether they are truly meant for you. Stay close to me, my beloved child. My goodness, was never meant for everyone except you. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have begun protecting the new direction with wise relationships and boundaries. Yet as life becomes quieter, a hidden belief may rise. You believe I restore, guide, and provide. Yet somewhere inside you believe, my goodness reaches other people more easily than it reaches you. You can celebrate when someone else receives an answered prayer. You can encourage them to trust, to hope, and to expect something. You can read stories of restoration and believe every word. Then you look at your own life and become cautious. You say, perhaps for them, perhaps not for me. My beloved child, my goodness was never meant for everyone except you. You have written yourself outside the promise because of what happened, what you did, or how long the delay has lasted. You fear your story became too complicated, and that mercy may forgive you while goodness remains limited. That belief does not come from humility, it comes from shame. Humility says, I cannot earn this gift, but I can receive it with gratitude. Shame says, I cannot earn it, so I must remain outside while others receive. My beloved child, refusing love does not honor me. Refusing peace does not prove repentance. Expecting less because you feel unworthy does not make you more spiritual. It only keeps your hands closed while grace is being offered. Think of the older brother in the story of the lost son. He lived near the father, worked faithfully, and remained responsible. Yet when celebration filled the home, he stood outside, convinced joy belonged to someone else and measuring love through effort and comparison. My beloved child, you can remain near me and still struggle to receive from me. You can pray and secretly believe I am kinder to other people. You can serve faithfully and assume your own needs are less important. You can speak about grace while treating yourself as the one person grace should keep at a distance. Come inside. You do not have to remain outside the celebration. You do not have to watch another person's restoration and decide there is less goodness available for you. My love is not a small portion that disappears when someone else receives. Their open door does not close yours. Their healing does not reduce what I can restore in you. Their answered prayer is not evidence that you were forgotten. My beloved child, comparison has trained you to see goodness as competition. You look at another person's relationship, home, peace, opportunity, or progress, and you ask why your life has not unfolded in the same way. But my goodness does not always arrive in identical forms. What looks like delay may be protection. What looks like a closed road may be redirection. What looks ordinary may be the beginning of something you will only recognize later. Do not define goodness only by receiving the exact outcome you requested. Sometimes, my goodness removes what you were determined to keep. Sometimes it gives you courage instead of immediate relief. Sometimes it sends a wise person who tells you the truth you did not want to hear. Sometimes it gives you enough strength to leave what has been diminishing you. Sometimes it allows an uncomfortable season to expose a pattern that comfort would have kept hidden. My beloved child, goodness is not always softness, but it will never contradict my character. It will lead toward truth, freedom, wisdom, love, and life. You may ask why goodness allowed pain. I will not give you a shallow answer. Not everything that happened was my desire. People made choices. A broken world produced loss. Bodies became tired. Relationships failed. You were wounded in places where you should have been protected. My goodness does not require you to call those things good. It means those things do not have the authority to write the ending. I can meet you in what was broken. I can restore what shame tried to bury. I can use wisdom gained through suffering without pretending the suffering was harmless. My beloved child, look back carefully. There were seasons you thought would destroy you, yet you are still here. There were doors you begged me to open that would have led you deeper into confusion. There were people you wanted to keep, who were teaching you to abandon yourself. There were delays that gave hidden truth time to become visible. There were nights when you received only enough strength for the next morning, but enough was still given. Do not overlook quiet goodness because it did not arrive dramatically. The meal that sustained you, the friend who answered, the moment you stopped yourself from returning to an old pattern, the unexpected calm during a difficult conversation, the growing ability to say no without collapsing under guilt. These are not insignificant. They are signs that grace has already been moving through your life. My beloved child, receiving goodness also requires you to release the belief that suffering is what you deserve. You have punished yourself through relationships, habits, and choices that matched the way shame made you feel. You accepted less because less felt familiar. You distrusted peace because chaos felt more believable. You pushed away kindness because receiving it exposed how deeply you had expected rejection. But familiarity is not destiny. You are allowed to learn a new way of living. You are allowed to experience relationships that do not require constant fear. You are allowed to rest without waiting for punishment. You are allowed to enjoy something without immediately preparing for its loss. You are allowed to thank me for today without demanding a guarantee for tomorrow. My beloved child, open your hands slowly. Do not force yourself to feel certain about everything. Begin by becoming willing to receive one good thing without explaining it away. Receive the compliment. Receive the help. Receive the quiet morning. Receive the invitation to begin again. Receive the truth that your life is not disqualified from beauty. Some gifts may feel uncomfortable because they do not match the identity shame built for you. Let discomfort be part of learning. A person who lived in darkness may need time for their eyes to adjust to light. The light is not harming them. Their eyes are becoming accustomed to what was always meant to help them see. My beloved child, let your heart adjust to goodness. You do not need to chase every opportunity or call every desire a promise. Wisdom still matters. Test what comes. Pray. Notice the fruit. Seek counsel when necessary. But do not reject what is healthy merely because pain trained you to expect less. Do not sabotage peace because chaos feels familiar. Do not close a safe door because an unsafe door once hurt you. I am teaching you to receive without fear and to discern without suspicion. My goodness is not a reward for becoming perfect. It is not payment for flawless obedience. It flows from who I am. And before you change another habit, repair another mistake, or prove another thing, there is a deeper truth you must receive. My beloved child, you are deeply loved before you change anything. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have begun to understand that my goodness was never meant for everyone except you. Now I want to take you deeper beneath what you receive, beneath every change you still hope to make. You are deeply loved before you change anything, before you fix another habit, before you repair another mistake, before you become more disciplined, confident, peaceful, or consistent. My love is not waiting at the end of your improvement. It is present at the beginning. You have often treated love like a reward. You believed that if you became easier to understand, more useful, more spiritual, or less complicated, then perhaps you would finally feel secure. You carried this belief into relationships, prayer, and the way you looked at yourself after failure. My beloved child, you learned to ask, "What must I become so I will not be left?" That question has exhausted you. It made you apologize for needs that were not wrong. It made you hide your tiredness, soften your truth, and offer more than you had strength to give. You tried to become impossible to reject, but no human being can live peacefully beneath that pressure. My beloved child, I did not create you to earn the right to exist. Before your first success, I knew you. Before your first failure, I loved you. Remember the child growing within the hidden place of a mother's womb. The child has not achieved anything or proved usefulness, intelligence, strength, or faithfulness, yet the child is already wanted, already known, already worthy of care. My beloved child, my love for you began before your performance. You did not create it through obedience, and you cannot erase it through one difficult season. This does not mean your choices do not matter. Love cares about what your choices are doing to you and to others. Because I love you, I will correct what is harming you. Because I love you, I will invite you to grow, but growth is not the price of love. Growth becomes possible when love finally feels safe enough to receive. A plant does not grow because the gardener shouts at it for being small. It grows because it receives light, water, care, and time. My beloved child, your heart also needs a place where transformation is not fueled by hatred. You have tried to change by attacking yourself. You called yourself lazy, foolish, weak, selfish, or broken, hoping harshness would make you better. Shame can force movement for a moment, but it cannot create a life of peace. My voice does not say change so I can love you. My voice says you are loved, so you no longer need to remain where fear has kept you. One voice makes you run from rejection. The other helps you walk toward freedom. My beloved child, remember the son who returned home after wasting what had been placed in his hands. He prepared a speech. He expected to be received only as a servant because shame had convinced him that sonship had been canceled. But the father ran before the speech was finished. The embrace came before the explanation was complete. Restoration began before the son could prove he had changed. That does not mean the journey ahead required no growth. It means growth began inside belonging, not outside it. My beloved child, stop standing at the edge of my love, rehearsing why you should be allowed closer. Come home. You do not need to promise that you will never struggle again. You do not need to hide the part of you that is still confused. Bring the whole truth. Bring the regret. Bring the desire to change and the fear that you may fail again. I am not surprised by any of it. You have imagined that I love an ideal version of you more than the person sitting here now. But I do not love an idea. I love you. The one who sometimes trusts and sometimes worries. The one who wants to obey and still hesitates. The one who has made progress and still carries tender places. My beloved child, I know the difference between your identity and your current condition. A storm may cover a landscape without becoming the landscape. A wound may affect your movement without becoming your name. A season of confusion may slow you without defining the journey. I see beyond the present condition. This is why you do not have to wait until you feel proud of yourself before receiving my love. You may not like every decision you have made. You may need to apologize, repair, seek help, or accept consequences. Do those things honestly, but do not use responsibility as a reason to deny yourself mercy. Mercy does not erase responsibility. It gives you enough safety to face responsibility without being destroyed by it. My beloved child, take a slow breath. Notice how quickly your mind adds conditions to these words. You are loved, but only if you improve soon. You are loved, but not as much as someone more faithful. You are loved, but perhaps my patience is almost finished. Those additions do not come from me. My love is not fragile. It does not become uncertain every time your feelings change. It is not surprised by the length of your healing. It does not count how many times you needed reassurance and decide that one more need is too much. My beloved child, let this truth reach the places where you have lived under constant evaluation. You are not standing before me like an employee waiting for the next performance review. You belong, and belonging changes how you live. When you know you are loved, you no longer need to chase every person who withdraws. You no longer need to say yes to prove your worth. You no longer need to hide every weakness. You can tell the truth because your identity is not hanging from another person's response. You can receive correction without hearing rejection. You can rest without believing your value is decreasing. My beloved child, being loved does not make you passive. It makes you free to change for the right reason. You begin choosing honesty because you value the life I gave you. You begin setting boundaries because your dignity is no longer negotiable. You begin leaving destructive patterns because you believe your future deserves protection. You begin receiving healthy love because chaos is no longer the only thing that feels familiar. Let my love become the foundation beneath every new choice, not fear of punishment, not desperation for approval. Love. My beloved child, I am not waiting for the finished version of you. I am walking with the becoming version. I am here in the unfinished prayer, the slow progress, the repeated return, and the small act of courage no one else notices. And as this love becomes more real than shame, something you buried may begin to breathe again. Hope. The future you stopped imagining is still waiting to be seen. Stay close to me. It is time to let hope return. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have begun to understand that my love is not waiting at the end of your improvement. It is already beneath you, holding you while you are still becoming. Now let that love awaken something you buried. Hope. There was a time when you could imagine a future that felt alive. You pictured peace, meaningful work, honest relationships, a home within yourself, and mornings that did not begin with dread. Then disappointment came. A prayer seemed unanswered. A door closed. A person changed or left. You tried again and watched another plan fall apart. Little by little, the future lost its color. My beloved child, you did not stop hoping because you were faithless. You stopped because hope began to feel dangerous. Wanting something made you vulnerable to losing it. Expecting goodness made disappointment sharper, so you lowered your expectations. You told yourself it was wisdom. You called it being realistic. You stopped looking far ahead and focused only on surviving the next day bill conversation or difficult week. That protected you from pain. It also made your world smaller. My beloved child, I am not asking you to return to careless optimism. I am not asking you to pretend the hard things did not happen. I am not asking you to attach your peace to one exact outcome and call that faith. I am inviting you into a stronger hope, a hope that knows life can be uncertain and still believes I remain faithful, a hope that does not require every door to open, a hope that says, even when the path changes, I can still guide you. You have confused hope with prediction. You thought hope meant knowing what would happen, but hope is not certainty about circumstances. It is trust in my character when circumstances remain unclear. Remember Abraham looking at a sky filled with stars while his own life seemed to contradict the promise. Time had passed. His body had aged. The visible evidence appeared thin, yet the stars became a language of possibility. My beloved child, I may not show you the whole future. Sometimes I give you one small light in a dark sky, one reason to continue, one quiet desire that refuses to die, one person who reminds you that healthy love exists, one opportunity that does not solve everything but asks you to begin again. Do not despise small hope. A candle does not need to become the sun before it can help you take the next step. Let hope return gently today. You do not need to force yourself into excitement. You do not need to wake tomorrow feeling fearless and certain. Begin with willingness. Say, perhaps this chapter is not the whole story. Say, perhaps I have not seen everything you are preparing. Say, perhaps what feels empty is making room. My beloved child, perhaps is enough to open a window. Hope often returns quietly. It may appear as the desire to take better care of your body. It may appear as curiosity about a path you abandoned. It may appear as the courage to meet someone new without demanding they repair what someone else broke. It may appear as the decision to apply, learn, create, pray, or try again. Do not dismiss these movements because they feel small. Your spirit may be stretching after living in a narrow room for too long. Let it stretch slowly. My beloved child, fear will challenge hope. It will remind you of every time things did not work. It will say, do not become excited. You know how this ends. Answer gently. Say, I remember what happened, but memory does not know everything about what comes next. Say, disappointment taught me, but it does not own my imagination. Say, I can move wisely without expecting disaster. You are not required to forget the past in order to believe in a future. You can carry wisdom without carrying hopelessness. Hope does not make you naive. It allows wisdom to serve life instead of fear. My beloved child, do not build your future only as an escape from your present. Hope is not fantasy. It must be rooted in truth. Ask what kind of life reflects who I am forming you to become, not what would impress others, not what would make someone regret leaving, not what would prove your worth, what would be honest, what would be peaceful, what would allow your gifts, boundaries, compassion, and wisdom to grow together. Perhaps the future is simpler than the image you once chased. Perhaps it contains fewer people but deeper connection. Perhaps it contains meaningful work that no crowd applauds. Perhaps it contains a home where your nervous system can finally rest. Perhaps it contains the freedom to be known without performing. My beloved child, do not measure the value of your future by how impressive it looks. A quiet life can carry deep purpose. An ordinary day can hold sacred peace. A small beginning can contain a faithful direction. Remember Ruth gathering leftover grain in a field after loss had changed everything she expected. She was not standing inside the future she once imagined. She was taking one humble step in the life still available to her. That ordinary field became part of a story she could not yet see. My beloved child, your next chapter may also begin in a place that looks unremarkable. Be faithful there. Hope does not only dream, hope moves. It makes the appointment. It tends the body. It applies for the opportunity. It allows a safe friendship to grow. It returns to prayer after silence. It saves a small amount. It learns one skill. It clears one corner of the room. Hope gives the future a place to begin in the present. Take a slow breath now. What future did you stop imagining? Do not judge the answer. Perhaps you stopped imagining love because rejection became familiar. Perhaps you stopped imagining health because progress felt slow. Perhaps you stopped imagining purpose because years passed differently than you planned. Perhaps you stopped imagining peace because chaos became normal. Bring that future to me, not as a demand, not as a contract, as an honest desire. Say, "This is what I still long for, but I release the form, timing, and path into your wisdom." My beloved child, that is hope with open hands. It can desire deeply without trying to control me. It can grieve when plans change without deciding goodness has ended. It can wait without becoming empty. Let hope return to your future. Let it be cautious if it must. Let it be small. Let it sit beside the scars without denying them. I am not asking you to trust a perfect outcome. I am asking you to trust my presence in the story, still unfolding. And as hope begins to breathe again, it may reveal one place where your hands remain tightly closed. One area where you still say, "I trust you, but not with this." Stay close to me, my beloved child. It is time to open the place in your heart you still refuse to trust me with. My beloved child, stay close to me. Hope has begun to breathe again. You are allowing yourself to imagine that the future may still contain goodness, peace, purpose, and relationships that do not require you to disappear. But hope has also revealed something. There is still one place in your heart where your hands remain tightly closed. You say you trust me, but not fully there. You pray about it, yet continue managing every possible outcome. You ask for guidance, then decide what the answer must look like before receiving it. My beloved child, I am not exposing this to shame you. I understand why that place became guarded. You trusted before and watched life unfold differently than expected. You prayed sincerely and still experienced loss. Somewhere inside you began to believe complete surrender was too dangerous. So, you created a private room within yourself. You invited me into many parts of your life but kept that door closed. Perhaps the room holds a relationship. Perhaps it holds your health, finances, family calling, or fear of ending up alone. Perhaps it holds the one desire you are afraid to release because you believe releasing it means losing it forever. My beloved child, I know what is behind the door. I know what you fear, I may ask. I know the sentence you rarely say aloud. If I give this to you, what if you do not return it in the way I want? That question does not offend me. It is honest. I know opening this place may feel like stepping into water without knowing where your feet will land. But trust does not mean the water is shallow. It means my hand remains steady beneath you. You are not surrendering to emptiness. You are surrendering to one who has never stopped watching over your life. Trust cannot grow where honesty is forbidden. Bring me the fear beneath your control. Do not say I surrender while your heart remains terrified and your mind continues building backup plans. Tell me plainly, I am afraid. You will say no. I am afraid you will ask me to let go. I am afraid the answer will hurt. I am afraid I will obey and still feel disappointed. My beloved child, I can meet you inside that truth. You have believed faith means feeling no fear. But faith often begins when fear is spoken in my presence instead of hidden behind performance. Remember the father who brought his suffering child to me. He believed, yet he also admitted the part of him that struggled to believe. I did not reject the mixed condition of his heart. I met him there. My beloved child, bring me your belief and your unbelief. Bring me the trust you have and the trust you do not yet know how to give. I am not waiting for a perfect surrender. I am asking for an honest opening. You may think the guarded place is safer in your own hands, but look at what holding it has cost you. How many nights have you rehearsed every possible outcome? How much energy have you spent reading another person's mood, checking for signs and preparing for disappointment? How often have you prayed, then taken the burden back before the prayer was finished? My beloved child, control promises safety, but it often produces exhaustion. It tells you that if you remain alert enough, thoughtful enough, useful enough, and prepared enough, you can prevent pain. But no human heart was designed to monitor every moving part of life. You cannot control another person's choices. You cannot force a door to remain open. You cannot guarantee that everyone you love will understand you. You cannot protect yourself from every disappointment without also blocking intimacy, joy, and peace. The guarded room has become heavy. The door you keep holding shut requires constant strength. My beloved child, what if trust is not losing control, but admitting that control was never truly yours? What if opening the door does not mean becoming passive? Trust still allows wise planning. It still allows boundaries. It still allows questions, preparation counsel, and responsible action. Trust simply refuses to live as though everything depends on you alone. Think of Hannah bringing Samuel to the temple after years of longing. The gift she desired most was also the gift she placed back into my hands. Her surrender did not mean she loved him less. It meant her love was no longer built on possession. My beloved child, surrender does not always remove desire. You may still want the relationship to heal. You may still hope for the opportunity. You may still pray for restoration, health provision, or companionship. Your hands stop gripping it as though life has no meaning without one specific outcome. Say, "This is what I want, but I trust your wisdom more than my limited view." Say, "This matters deeply to me, but it will not become my master." Say, "I am willing to receive a different path if it leads toward truth and peace." My beloved child, these words may feel frightening. Speak them slowly. Surrender is not always a feeling of relief. Sometimes it is a decision repeated while anxiety is still present. You release the burden in the morning. You notice your mind taking it back by afternoon. Then you release it again. It means trust is becoming a practice. Each return loosens the grip. Each honest prayer teaches your heart that it does not have to stand guard alone. My beloved child, notice what happens when you imagine opening that door. Does your body become tense? Does your mind rush to the worst possibility? Be gentle with that reaction. Part of you learned control as protection. Thank that part for trying to keep you safe. Then tell it, "We are not alone now." You are placing the burden before the one who knows the beginning, the middle, and the end. My beloved child, I am not careless with what you entrust to me. I may lead slowly. I may close one path and reveal another. I may change the situation, or I may first change the way it controls your inner life. But I will not waste your honesty. I will not mock your fear. I will not punish you for opening the door. Take a slow breath. Name the guarded place. Choose the one that has been consuming the most energy. Hold it before me. Say, "I have tried to be the sole protector of this, and I am tired." Say, "I do not know what you will do, but I am willing to stop carrying it alone." My beloved child, that willingness is an opening. You may not see immediate change outside you, but something begins changing within you when the burden is no longer treated as yours alone. Your shoulders can soften. Your thoughts can become quieter. Your prayers can become conversations instead of negotiations. And once the guarded place begins to open, you will recognize how heavy the burden has truly become. Stay close to me, my beloved child. It is time to surrender what has become too heavy for your hands. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have opened the place in your heart that fear kept guarded. You have named what you were afraid to trust me with. Now I want to help you do what your tired hands have resisted for so long. Surrender what has become too heavy for you to carry today. You have held this burden with both hands even when your strength was gone. You feared that if you loosened your grip, everything would fall apart. So you kept watching. You kept planning. You kept rehearsing conversations that had not happened. You kept preparing for losses that had not arrived. My beloved child, carrying a burden is not the same as controlling its outcome. You can spend every hour thinking about a situation and still be unable to change another person's heart, force an answer, or guarantee the future. Worry has made you feel active, but much of that activity has been pain moving in circles. You called it responsibility. Sometimes it was. Sometimes it was fear pretending to be devotion. My beloved child, love does not require you to destroy your peace. You can care deeply and still place the outcome in my hands. You can act wisely and admit where your control ends. You can prepare without becoming consumed. You can pray without trying to supervise the answer. Surrender does not mean doing nothing. It means doing what belongs to you and releasing what belongs to me. Your part may be to tell the truth. Your part may be to apologize. Your part may be to seek help, make a plan, protect your safety, or take one faithful step. But another person's response is not yours to carry. The timing of every result is not yours to manage. The entire future is not yours to solve tonight. My beloved child, you have been trying to hold tomorrow with hands that were only given strength for today. No wonder you are tired. Remember Moses standing before a burden larger than one person could carry. He tried to hear every problem, answer every question, and hold every need alone. Then wise counsel showed him that leadership did not require carrying everything by himself. He needed help. He needed structure. He needed to release what was never meant to rest on one set of shoulders. My beloved child, needing help is not failure. It is honesty. You may need a trusted friend. You may need a counselor, pastor, doctor, advisor, or someone trained to help with what you are facing. You may need to stop calling isolation strength. I often provide support through people. Do not reject help because it arrives differently than expected. My beloved child, open hands are able to receive. Closed hands can only keep holding what is already there. You have prayed for peace while gripping the burden so tightly that peace had nowhere to rest. Let your fingers loosen. You do not have to release everything. You can release it slowly. Name one part that does not belong to you. Perhaps you have been carrying responsibility for keeping everyone happy. Release it. Perhaps you have been carrying guilt for another person's choices. Release it. Perhaps you have been carrying the belief that you must predict every danger. Release it. Perhaps you have been carrying the fear that one mistake will ruin your future. Release it. My beloved child, some burdens have become part of your identity. You no longer know who you would be without the role of protector, fixer, helper, or the one who remains strong. The burden gives you purpose even while it empties you. That is why surrender can feel like loss. You are not only releasing the problem, you may be releasing the version of yourself built around managing it. Who will you be if you are no longer the one holding everything together? You will still be loved. You will still have purpose. You will still matter when you are resting. You will still belong when you are not rescuing everyone. My beloved child, your worth does not depend on how much weight you can endure. I did not create you as a machine for carrying endless demands. I created you as my child. Children are allowed to receive care. Children are allowed to ask questions. Children are allowed to sleep. Think of the disciples in the boat during the storm. They believed the waves meant they had been forgotten. They woke me in fear because the boat looked too small for the water around it. But my presence had not disappeared. The storm was real. So was my authority. My beloved child, the storm in your life may be real. The bills may be real. The diagnosis may be real. The conflict may be real. The uncertainty may be real. Surrender is not pretending the waves are small. It is remembering the waves are not the only reality present. I am present too. Bring me the burden without minimizing it. Say, this is hurting me. Say, I am afraid. Say, I do not know what happens next. Say, I have carried this as far as I can. Then say, I give you what I cannot control. My beloved child, you may feel the urge to take it back. That does not mean the surrender was false. It means trust is being practiced. When your mind begins circling again, return. When your body becomes tense, return. When you start preparing for every disaster, return. Say, I have placed this in your hands. Show me what belongs to today, then listen. Perhaps today requires one phone call. Perhaps it requires rest. Perhaps it requires a budget, a difficult conversation, a medical appointment, or a boundary. Do that part, then stop. Do not turn one faithful action into another night of solving the whole story. My beloved child, surrender creates space. Space for wisdom, space for sleep, space for my guidance to become clearer than panic, space for others to support you, space for your body to leave constant alarm. You may not notice change in the circumstances, but you may notice a change inside. Your breathing slows, your thoughts become less crowded. You can hear one clear next step instead of 100 imagined outcomes. That is not nothing. That is the beginning of freedom. My beloved child, do not judge surrender only by whether the situation changes quickly. Sometimes the first miracle is that the situation no longer controls every room inside you. Sometimes peace arrives before the answer. Sometimes strength arrives before the door opens. Sometimes I change your grip before I change what you are gripping. Trust that work. You have held this long enough. You have proven that effort alone cannot carry it. Now let my strength meet the place where yours has ended. Release what belongs to me. Receive help where help is available. Take responsibility for what is yours. Leave the rest in my hands. And as the burden becomes lighter, you will discover how much striving has lived beneath your exhaustion. Stay close to me, my beloved child. It is time to stop striving and let your spirit truly rest. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have begun to release what became too heavy for your hands. You have admitted that effort alone cannot carry the whole story. Now let me show you what comes after surrender. Rest. Not the kind that only closes your eyes while your mind keeps running. Not the kind that pauses your body while your heart continues managing every outcome. I am speaking of deeper rest. The rest that enters when you no longer believe everything depends on you. My beloved child, you have been striving for a long time. You have worked hard on the outside, but you have also worked hard within. You have monitored your emotions, rehearsed conversations, measured every word, and prepared answers for questions no one had asked. You have tried to become good enough to prevent rejection, useful enough to secure love, and strong enough that no one would ever need to carry you. This inner labor has exhausted you in ways sleep alone cannot repair. You may wake after many hours in bed and still feel tired. Your body rested, but your spirit remained on watch. It kept listening for danger, checking whether someone had changed, reviewing the past, and preparing for tomorrow. No wonder your soul feels worn. My beloved child, striving often begins as protection. Perhaps you learned early that if you did not stay alert, something important would be missed. Perhaps you had to become responsible before you were ready. Perhaps people depended on you while no one noticed what you needed. Perhaps you relaxed once and watched something fall apart, so your heart made an agreement. I will not let my guard down again. That agreement helped you survive, but what once protected you may now be preventing you from resting. Do not hate the part of you that learned control. Thank it for trying to keep you safe. Then tell it gently, we are not alone anymore. My beloved child, I am here. You do not have to keep watch over every moving part. You do not have to interpret every silence. You do not have to solve every possibility before morning. You do not have to earn peace through complete exhaustion. Rest is not a reward for finishing everything. You can pause before everything is resolved. Rest is where your heart learns that being held is different from holding everything. It is where trust moves from an idea into the quiet rhythm of your ordinary life. Remember how I led my people through the wilderness. I gave them what they needed for each day. When some gathered more than the day required, the extra could not provide the security they wanted. They had to learn daily trust. They had to wake and receive again. My beloved child, you also keep gathering tomorrow's weight. You carry next week's conversation, next month's bill, next year's uncertainty, and every imagined outcome into the present moment. But today does not contain strength for every future day. It contains grace for today. Ask yourself, what truly belongs to this moment? My beloved child, spiritual rest does not mean becoming passive. It means action without panic. It means responsibility without self-destruction. It means preparation without believing your preparation controls every result. You can work and still rest within. This is the rhythm I want to teach you. Move when it is time to move. Pause when it is time to pause. Listen before reacting. Receive before giving again. My beloved child, you have treated stillness as dangerous because stillness allows hidden feelings to rise. When the noise becomes quiet, sadness may appear, loneliness may appear, anger may appear. Questions you avoided may come closer, so you fill every empty space. You reach for the phone, you begin another task, you help someone else. You create movement so you do not have to meet what is waiting inside. But rest is not avoiding your inner world. It is learning that you can sit with what you feel without being destroyed by it. You can notice sadness without becoming hopeless. You can notice fear without obeying it. You can notice loneliness without returning to an unsafe relationship. You can notice anger without using it to harm yourself or someone else. Feelings become less frightening when they are welcomed into my presence. You do not need to fix each feeling immediately. Name it. Breathe. Let me sit with you there. Remember Mary sitting near me while Martha moved anxiously from task to task. Martha's work was not evil. Service mattered. But worry had entered the work and made her believe everything depended on her. Mary chose presence. My beloved child, you have been Martha in many rooms. Now I am inviting you to choose presence, not forever, not as an escape from responsibility. For this moment, let your shoulders fall, unclench your jaw, place both feet on the ground, take one slow breath. You are not required to perform anything for me right now. You are not required to explain yourself. You are not required to produce a perfect prayer, but be here. My beloved child, rest can begin through small acts. Sit in silence for a few minutes and allow your body to learn that quiet does not always mean danger. You may feel uncomfortable. That does not mean rest is wrong. It may mean your system has become unfamiliar with peace. Let peace become familiar again. Do not turn rest into another task you must perform perfectly. Your thoughts may wander. You may reach for control again. You may lie down and still feel tense. Return gently. Rest is practiced. Trust is practiced. Each return teaches your heart that it is allowed to stop striving. Say, I have done what belongs to today. Say, I release what remains unfinished. Say, I trust you to remain awake while I sleep. My beloved child, I do not need your anxiety to remind me what matters. I do not forget the person you love when you stop worrying about them. I do not lose control of your future when you close your eyes. I do not need constant supervision from the child I am trying to comfort. Let me be God. Let yourself be human. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to need sleep. You are allowed to say, I cannot carry more today. You are allowed to receive care without earning it first. Rest will not make you less faithful. It will make your faith more honest. It will expose where trust ends and control begins. It will return clarity to places exhaustion made confusing. It will soften resentment that grew when you gave beyond your capacity. It will help you hear my voice without panic speaking over it. Stay here with me. Let the burden remain down. Let the unanswered remain unanswered for tonight. Let your body breathe. Let your spirit become still. And as striving begins to loosen, another feeling may rise from beneath it. Grief. Do not fear that feeling. Do not call it spiritual weakness. Stay close to me, my beloved child. Your grief is not evidence that your faith is weak. My beloved child, stay close to me. As striving begins to loosen, grief may rise from the place where you kept it buried. Do not be afraid of that feeling. Do not call it weakness. Your grief is not evidence that your faith is weak. It is evidence that something mattered. You loved, you hoped. You invested your heart in a person, a future, a prayer, a home, a season, or a version of life you believed would continue. When that changed, part of you changed with it. My beloved child, grief is not a spiritual problem to solve as quickly as possible. It is the honest response of a heart that has encountered loss. You may be grieving someone who died. You may be grieving someone who is still alive but no longer present in the same way. You may be grieving a relationship, a dream, your health, lost time, a missed opportunity, or the person you used to be before life became difficult. Loss has many forms. Some are recognized by everyone. Others are invisible. People understand a funeral. They may not understand the grief of an unanswered prayer, a friendship that slowly disappeared, a body that no longer does what it once did, or a future that ended without a public goodbye. But I understand. I see the empty chair. I see the message you still want to send. I see the date that carries meaning no one else remembers. I see the part of you that feels guilty for still hurting. My beloved child, stop measuring your healing by how comfortable your grief makes other people. Some will want you to move on because they do not know how to sit beside pain. Some will offer quick answers because silence makes them uncomfortable. Some will remind you that I am good as though goodness requires you to stop crying, but I am not offended by your tears. Remember Mary and Martha when Lazarus died. They believed in me. They loved me. They still grieved. When I arrived, I did not shame them for weeping. I wept with them. My beloved child, if tears were evidence of weak faith, I would never have allowed my own eyes to fill. Grief and faith can live in the same heart. You can trust me and still say, this hurts. You can believe in eternity and still miss the person who is gone. You can know a decision was right and still mourn what it cost. You can understand that a season ended and still wish you had more time. Faith does not erase sorrow. It keeps sorrow from becoming the only truth. My beloved child, grief moves in waves. One day you may feel steady. The next day, a smell, song, photograph, place, or ordinary sentence may bring the ache back without warning. Do not panic. You are not returning to the beginning. A wave revisiting the shore is not the ocean starting over. It is the rhythm of something still being carried. Let the wave come, breathe through it. Name what you miss. Bring the memory to me. Do not judge yourself for having a heart that remembers. You may ask how long this will take. I will not give you a simple timetable. Every heart is different. Every loss has its own shape. Healing is not a straight road. There will be progress you notice and progress that remains hidden. You may laugh again and then feel guilty. You may enjoy a new moment and wonder whether joy betrays what was lost. My beloved child, joy is not betrayal. Continuing to live does not mean you have forgotten. The love remains even as your life begins making room for new days. You are allowed to carry memory without remaining trapped inside the moment of loss. Think of Naomi returning home after losing her husband and sons. She returned bitter, emptied, and unable to see what might still grow. I did not condemn her honesty. I met her through ordinary faithfulness, through Ruth's presence, through a field, a season, and small provisions that slowly became part of a larger restoration. My beloved child, restoration does not always begin with a dramatic answer. Sometimes it begins with someone sitting beside you, a meal brought quietly, a morning when getting out of bed feels possible, a prayer that contains only one sentence, a day when you remember and can breathe at the same time. Do not despise these small movements. They are signs that grief is being woven into a larger life. The loss may never become unimportant, but it does not have to remain the only story your heart can tell. My beloved child, do not rush to find a lesson before you have allowed yourself to feel the loss. Pain does not need to become useful immediately. You do not have to turn every wound into a testimony while it is still bleeding. There will be time for meaning. There will be time to recognize what grew inside you. For now, let truth be simple. Something precious was lost. It hurts. I am here. That is enough for this moment. You do not need to understand the purpose of your pain before allowing my presence to comfort you within it. You may also carry anger within grief. Anger at the person who left, anger at yourself, anger at circumstances, anger at me. Do not hide it behind polite prayers. Tell me, I am not frightened by your questions. I can hold the sentence, I do not understand why you allowed this. I can receive the silence that follows. Honest prayer keeps the relationship open. Pretended peace only pushes pain deeper. My beloved child, grief may need companionship. Do not carry it entirely alone. Find someone safe who will listen without rushing you. Seek professional support if the weight has become too much to manage. Let people help with practical things. Let them bring food, sit quietly, make a call, or walk beside you. Receiving support does not make your grief a burden. It reminds you that love can still reach you through human hands. At the same time, protect your heart from people who demand details you are not ready to share. You are allowed to grieve privately. You are allowed to choose who enters that sacred space. My beloved child, your grief is not evidence that your faith is weak. It is the place where love and loss have met inside you. Let me remain there with you. Let me teach you that sorrow can soften without erasing memory. Let me show you that healing does not mean returning to who you were before. You are becoming someone who carries the loss differently, more gently, more honestly, with greater compassion for the hidden grief of others. And as you learn to carry grief without letting it consume your entire future, another path will open. Prayer will become more honest. Forgiveness will become possible without denying what happened. Faithful action will give your healing somewhere to move. Stay close to me, my beloved child. It is time to let prayer, forgiveness, and faithful action prepare the way forward. My beloved child, stay close to me. Your grief has been seen, your tears have not been treated as weakness, and your questions have not pushed me away. Now the road ahead must be prepared with more than emotion. It must be prepared through prayer, forgiveness, and faithful action. These three will help your healing move from the hidden places of your heart into the life you are still learning to live. Begin with prayer, not polished prayer, not the kind that hides pain behind beautiful words. I am asking for honest prayer. Tell me what still hurts. Tell me what you are afraid may never change. Tell me where anger remains. Tell me where disappointment has made trust difficult. My beloved child, prayer is not a performance that proves your faith. It is a relationship where the truth is allowed to breathe. You do not need to know the right words. A sentence is enough. A sigh is enough. Silence, offered honestly, is enough. Remember Hannah in the temple. Her lips moved, but her voice was barely heard. Another person misunderstood her pain, yet I did not misunderstand it. I heard what grief was saying beneath the words. My beloved child, I still hear prayers that others cannot interpret. I hear the cry you cannot organize. I hear the question you are ashamed to ask. I hear the tired prayer that sounds less confident than the one you think you should offer. Do not measure whether I hear you by how quickly circumstances change. Silence does not mean neglect. Delay does not mean indifference. Sometimes an answer begins beneath the surface before anything becomes visible. A seed does not make noise while roots are forming. The ground may look unchanged, but life is still working in the hidden place. Continue praying, but let prayer become surrender rather than constant negotiation. You can ask clearly for what you desire. Then say, I trust your wisdom with the form and timing of the answer. That sentence does not erase longing. It keeps longing from becoming control. My beloved child, prayer will also bring you near the subject of forgiveness. There are people whose choices still live inside your thoughts. You may not speak to them anymore, yet the old conversation continues in your mind. You imagine what you should have said. You replay what they did. You wait for an apology that may never arrive. The person may have moved forward, but part of your heart remains standing at the scene of the injury. Forgiveness is not calling the wound small. It is not pretending trust was never broken. It is not returning access to someone who remains unsafe. It is not refusing justice, wisdom, consequences, or boundaries. Forgiveness means you no longer want the debt to govern your inner life. It means you place judgment in my hands and stop allowing the offense to receive daily space in your body, thoughts, and future. My beloved child, forgiveness may begin as a direction before it becomes a feeling. You may say, I want to forgive, but my emotions are not there yet. That is honest. Begin there. Bring me the unwillingness. Bring me the anger. Bring me the part that fears forgiveness will make what happened seem acceptable. I will teach you the difference between release and permission. Remember Joseph standing before the brothers who had betrayed him. Forgiveness did not erase the truth of what they had done. He named the harm clearly. Yet he refused to let their actions become the final author of his story. My beloved child, you can release hatred without denying history. You can wish for someone to change without inviting them back into your closest space. You can pray for their healing while protecting your own. You can stop carrying revenge without rebuilding trust before trustworthy behavior appears. Let forgiveness become freedom, not another demand you use against yourself. Do not force the process. Choose the direction again whenever the wound returns. Say, I will not let this offense decide who I become. Say, I release the need to punish them inside my mind today. Say, help me place this debt in your hands again. My beloved child, prayer and forgiveness prepare the heart, but faithful action prepares the road. A truth that never touches your habits, time, relationships, or choices remains incomplete. You have received much during this journey. Now choose something concrete. Write down the decision that became clear. Name the boundary you must protect. Schedule the conversation, appointment, or act of care you have delayed. Create a simple plan for the next few days. Do not attempt to rebuild your whole life tonight. Choose one action that agrees with what you now know. Faithfulness is often ordinary. It may look like turning off the noise and spending a few honest minutes with me each morning. It may look like keeping distance from a person who repeatedly disturbs your peace. It may look like asking for professional help. It may look like eating, sleeping, walking, budgeting, applying, apologizing, or showing up where responsibility calls you. My beloved child, small actions give truth somewhere to live. Do not wait for motivation to become perfect. Motivation changes. A faithful rhythm can carry you when emotion becomes quiet. Remember the servants who carried water at Cana. They did not understand every part of what I was doing. They simply filled the jars before them. The ordinary act became part of something they could not yet see. Your next faithful action may also look ordinary. Do it anyway. Protect your attention in the days ahead. After a deep moment, the mind often wants to fill every quiet space with noise. You may reach for endless content, constant messages, or unnecessary busyness because silence allows truth to remain close. Do not drown what is taking root. Create small spaces where you are consuming nothing and proving nothing. Let the words settle. Let your decision become steady. Let prayer continue after the emotion fades. My beloved child, choose one trustworthy person who can support your next step. Tell them what you are changing. Tell them what kind of encouragement you need. Do not share your tender beginning with people who mock pressure or pull you toward the old pattern. Wise support is not weakness. It is part of faithful preparation. And when you stumble, do not abandon the entire path. Return quickly. Pray again. Forgive again. Act faithfully again. Growth is not a straight line, but it can still have a clear direction. My beloved child, you are not being asked to carry the whole future. You are being asked to prepare the next part of the road. Let prayer keep your heart open. Let forgiveness keep the past from owning you. Let faithful action make truth visible in the present. Then lift your eyes. The door before you is no longer only an idea. A life shaped by honesty, purpose, gratitude, and peace is waiting beyond the next faithful step. Stay close to me, my beloved child. It is time to walk through the door and into the life I am still writing with you each day. My beloved child, stay close to me. Prayer has opened your heart. Forgiveness has begun loosening the past. Faithful action has given truth a place to live in your daily life. Now lift your eyes. The door before you is no longer only an idea. It is time to walk through it and into the life I am still writing. You have spent long enough standing at the edge of change, wondering whether you are ready. But my beloved child, readiness is not always a feeling. Sometimes readiness is simply the willingness to take the next honest step. You do not need to become fearless before moving. You do not need every wound healed. You do not need every question answered. You do not need everyone to understand. You only need enough truth to know which direction leads toward life. Walk toward that direction. My beloved child, the life ahead will not be flawless. There will still be difficult conversations, unexpected changes, and moments when old fears return. A new chapter does not mean every problem disappears. It means you no longer face those problems as the same person. You have learned to recognize shame. You have learned that grief and faith can live in the same heart. You have learned that surrender is not weakness. Carry these truths with you. Remember Joshua standing before a land he had never entered. The journey still required courage, obedience, and daily trust. He was not given every detail. He was given my presence. My beloved child, my presence is still the promise beneath your next step. I will be with you in the room where you speak honestly. I will be with you when you protect a boundary. I will be with you when a door closes and silence follows. I will be with you when progress is so quiet that no one notices but you. You are not walking into an empty future. You are walking with me. My beloved child, let honesty shape the life ahead. Do not return to hiding in order to keep peace with people who only accept a smaller version of you. Speak gently, but speak clearly. Admit when you are tired. Ask for help before exhaustion becomes resentment. Apologize when you are wrong without turning the apology into self-hatred. Receive correction without hearing rejection. Honesty will not make every relationship easy, but it will make your life more whole. Let your outer life begin to agree with your inner truth. My beloved child, walk with purpose. Purpose is not only a title, a platform, or one dramatic assignment. Purpose is the way you bring love, wisdom, courage, and faithfulness into what is already before you. It may look like raising a child with patience. It may look like doing ordinary work with integrity. It may look like listening to someone who feels unseen. It may look like ending a harmful family pattern. Do not wait for the whole plan before honoring the next responsibility. Remember Ruth in the field. She was gathering what was available, serving faithfully, and walking through grief one ordinary day at a time. My beloved child, purpose often meets you in ordinary fields. Be faithful there. Use what is in your hands. Offer what you have learned. Let the compassion born from your pain become shelter, but do not make your wounds your only identity. You are more than what happened to you. You are also what grace has been forming through you. Walk with gratitude, not the kind of gratitude that denies sorrow. I am not asking you to call betrayal, good loss easy, or pain necessary. Gratitude does not erase the wound. It helps you notice that the wound was not the only thing present. You were hurt, and you were also sustained. You lost something and you also discovered strength. You waited, and small provisions still appeared. My beloved child, look for grace without pretending the darkness was light. Notice the person who stayed. Notice the wisdom you now possess. Notice the boundary you can speak today that once felt impossible. Notice the peace that returns more quickly than before. Notice the fact that you are reaching for truth. These are not small things. Gratitude keeps your eyes open to what fear overlooks. Walk in peace. Peace is not the promise that nothing difficult will happen. Peace is the knowledge that difficulty does not have to own every room within you. You can feel sadness without surrendering your future to it. You can love people without trying to control them. You can work without proving your worth. You can rest while something remains unfinished. My beloved child, peace becomes practical. It appears in the call you choose not to return. It appears in the argument you refuse to continue. It appears in the quiet evening you protect. It appears when you place tomorrow back into my hands. Do not chase peace only as a feeling. Choose what protects it. My beloved child, there may be days when you forget everything you felt during this journey. The emotional strength of this moment may fade. That does not mean the truth has faded. Write down what became clear. Keep the decision visible. Return to the prayer. Tell a trusted person what you are changing. Build simple rhythms that support the person you are becoming. When you stumble, do not call the whole journey false. Stand again, return again, choose again. Healing is not proven by never struggling. Healing is revealed by knowing where to return. Return to my voice when shame speaks. Return to rest when striving takes over. Return to wisdom when emotion becomes loud. Return to truth when the past begins rewriting itself. Return to me. My beloved child, you are not too late. The years behind you have not exhausted my ability to lead you. The wrong turns have not removed every good road. The people who misunderstood you have not changed your value. The chapters you regret have not taken the pen from my hand. I am still writing. There are pages ahead that cannot be built from pretending. They must be built from the honest person you are becoming. Bring me that person. Bring me your courage and your uncertainty. Bring me your gratitude and your grief. Bring me your willingness even when it feels small. That is enough for the next page. My beloved child, this is not the end of your story. It is the end of living divided. It is the end of calling delay wisdom when fear is the one choosing. It is the end of letting shame name you. It is the end of carrying alone what was always meant to be placed in my hands. Now step forward. Walk through the door. Walk honestly. Walk with purpose. Walk with gratitude. Walk in peace. And when the road becomes unclear, do not turn back simply because the old place is familiar. Pause. Listen. Take the next faithful step. I will meet you there. My beloved child, you are seen. You are known. You are loved. You are not walking alone. The life ahead is being written. Come with me.